Welcome to the new IT, where we're talking about the future of IT, hiring, firing, all that good stuff. What does it look like in the world? And today we're talking about what everybody's talking about, the what?
The Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation. Everybody, it's the new buzzword. Everybody's talking about it. All jobs and companies are getting worried and freaked out. We're in an interesting space right now with we've got lots of jobs and not enough folks to fill the jobs. That's a fun conundrum to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think IT in general has always been there,
Yeah.
just because there's technology is always growing and we just can't keep up with the demand. So now with the Great Resignation, I really think it's going to be even harder for companies to find and attract that talent they really want.
Let's talk about what it is. I mean, I know everybody's talking about it, but we're kind of jumping on that boat too and connecting it to. I mean, I've always believed this is the future of IT anyway, and this is just kind of speeding it up, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think that IT has always been more this realm, but I think this has just really made people question whether or not they really want to stay at their jobs. So I think it definitely ties in even more now.
So what is it? Let's talk about that first. What is this Great Resignation thing that everybody's talking about? You kind of explain to us, Brad.
So essentially, what it is they did a study that found that 41% of the workforce said that they would consider leaving their current employer. So that has a lot of people freaked out going, well, we're already understaffed. What are we going to do if this does happen?
And there are people talking that this is going to happen. They really feel like 40% of the workforce is like committed to go somewhere else, to do something different.
Yep.
And why do they think that created? I mean, obviously, because of the pandemic, people realized, oh my gosh, I can work from home and this is awesome. I can go grab a cup of coffee when I want to in my kitchen.
Right.
This was great. My productivity wasn't, I don't know. I guess productivity was as good as it needed to be. What do you think?
I mean, in that frame of mind, I still think the data still isn't in yet. But I do think that that people are wanting to be able to have that freedom and that flexibility to be able to work from home or to do what they need. So I think
IT's been talking about that forever too. I mean, we years ago were saying, dude, I could totally do this from home. I got a VPN. I don't need to be here for most of the stuff that we do.
I mean, I get that, and don't get me wrong, I do, and I see that how it can be possible. But for me personally, what you're missing out from being in the office is just more understanding the company culture and the vision and being part of a team and being part of something bigger than yourself.
Is that not becoming even more disconnected in the IT realm? I mean, because that's where consulting and stuff comes in, because they're not, as important as it used to be to have this connect. I mean, is that something we need to worry about? Maybe we're becoming less human and connected?
No, I mean, I don't think we need to worry about it, but I think there's going to be a balance where companies are going to understand that you need to have a hybrid approach. You're going to have some in-person and some remote, but you can't have one or the other. I think it's going to take the mixture of both.
Interesting. So if the people out there, the companies, I'm sure they're getting freaked out. They're worried people are going to be leaving. Mm-hmm. What is there something that companies can do to be the 60% and not the 40%? Is it? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean,
is there something that maybe companies should shore up and think about to be more desirable?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it's going to have to come from the top down, and it's going to have to come on making sure that you're flexible, making sure that you're able to offer things like we were just talking about. Make sure that you have some sort of hybrid approach to where maybe they're in the office 1 or 2 days a week and then they're remote the rest of the time, or something like that to be able to be relatable to them.
And you're not going to be able to say, hey, this is our company, this is what we do, and you have to do it whether you like it or not. Are we going to have to be a little more flexible now? We're going to have to be a little more open to employees to keep employees? Because it used to be, you needed a job, so screw it, you got to do what we say.
I mean, to a degree, yes, but I mean, I don't think in IT, and this is just my observation as an outsider, I think that IT has always had that flexibility to be able to say if if I don't like where I'm going in my career path with this company, I can quickly jump ship and go somewhere else.
There's always
Because,
another IT
yeah,
gig somewhere.
exactly, because they've always been in
Yeah.
demand. So I think they've always had that. So I think companies have to understand and learn to adapt to that now, like I said, by creating that flexibility, making sure that your managers are taking care of, the right things, and making sure that they're building that camaraderie with that team. I mean, I think that's going to be huge. And not only that, but I mean, I think that's going to help them share in the vision and the mission and the values of the company. So that's just only going to create that bond. And there are studies out there that show that people will stay with an organization longer and for less pay if they have value out of their work.
And maybe a company that understands, or it feels like they actually hear them.
Yeah.
Or I really think that's going to be a big deal.
Oh, and so do I. I think that's really what
I
it's
mean,
going to
we
be
look
about.
at the past. The past has shown, hey, you have a job. You should be super happy that we have given you a job. And it almost feels like the world is changing. You should be super happy that I'm here to help you with your company.
Right? And it really has, in my opinion. I really think that the power has shifted from the companies now to the employees, to where they can now make sure that they drive change in a positive way, to make sure that they do have a good work-life balance, to where they're still working their same amount of hours, but they're working it on their terms. They're working maybe 2 hours in the morning, taking a break, and then maybe coming back for 3 or 4 during lunch, and then maybe taking the rest of the afternoon off, but working like from 8 to midnight or something like that. So I think you're going to have that flexibility.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to me to look back at like the turn of the 20th century, 1900. The companies, these big giant companies, they didn't have unions or anything like that. People were completely, child labor, everybody. It's really crazy that in 121 years, it's a lot different now.
Absolutely.
I mean, not just IT. Of course, we're talking about IT, but I just kind of look at this as how it's
evolved.
changed. And I think the years and times of those very few having all of the power, because of how connected we are, social media and all this stuff, that world just doesn't exist anymore.
No, and in my opinion, it really doesn't. I think that, again,
maybe some other countries, maybe some third world. I don't know. There's still
and
sweatshops out there in different lands, but
that may very well be the case. But from what we're seeing here in the U.S., I really believe that we're in a position now where we've evolved enough to where, like I said, I mean, I know I said this earlier, but employees have really taken back control, and they can now demand things because they know that these companies are in such high demand that they just need the talent, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, I figured this out like 5 years ago when I was working for a company, and they were offering $3,000 to $5,000 bonuses as referrals. And that's when I says, what's changed here? How has this dynamic changed? And what I realized is that the IT people were in demand, and they needed people so bad that this is what they were willing to do.
Giving lots of money for referrals. You're like, ooh, I could do a company that does the same exact thing.
Something like that.
I love it.
So that's what got me started with it. But yeah, I mean, I digress.
Wow, this is I just find this very interesting, intriguing. It feels to me like we've just sped the pandemic, that kind of stuff has just kind of sped up things that were already going to happen.
Oh,
because people are talking about the Great Resignation like it's this big deal, and I kind of feel like we were all starting to feel that way, and the pandemic just kind of got it a little quicker. What do you think?
No, and I completely agree. And what I think is going to happen is I think you're going to start to see more freelancers and more contractors than you ever have before.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people did that during the pandemic, and they were like, they weren't sure really what to do because they were either being a contractor or they were either being furloughed or laid off. So they were just kind of out in the dark saying, what do I do? But they know that they need to get by. So that's where Upwork and Fiverr and things like that became kind of more relevant because they said, well, I can at least do something.
Yeah. And I don't know statistics on this, but I would assume many of them made maybe more money than they had before. And like, oh, wait a minute.
That's possible.
Again,
Yeah.
I don't know statistics, but I do know when I became a consultant, I tripled my income.
Yeah.
So I think maybe when you got and I got laid off too, so I was kind of forced into it too back in the day, 15, whatever, many years ago it was. So I think people start realizing, oh my gosh, I can do this, truthfully be my own boss, not have my eggs in one basket. Does it almost come down for these employers? Is it just you've got to have a great benefits package?
Not at all.
Really?
No, I mean, now more than ever, like I said, I mean, we're seeing that people want to have value. They want to show that they're contributing to something bigger than themselves. And it really doesn't matter what that is, as long as it's something where they can have buy-in. So you're starting to see companies understand that and try to formulate things to get people to share in their visions.
It's just crazy to me how the world has changed.
Right.
I personally, I think it's probably for the better of humankind. I would hope that we're all. It feels like we all have input now with social media and all of. Anybody can say something and be heard. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. It feels like that to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's being heard. I think it's just educating yourself. Mm-hmm. We now have the opportunity to really understand.
Yeah, that's true.
And know what is going on now, whereas before, we never had that. We never knew what these other companies were doing and what they have in the market. Now, people talk more. They understand more, so they can sit there and say, oh, well, my buddy over here, he's getting maxed out at a developer position, yet I'm over here being a manager and he's making more money than me.
Yeah. Interesting. So, what should we be looking for? As a person looking for a job out there, okay, I've decided that, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm leaving this crap job that I hate or whatever. What do you think should be that person's first thought? What's your first thing they should do? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to be a little biased on this, and I'm going to say get with a recruiter.
Dude,
if you get with a recruiter, they're going to help you, and they're going to understand, and they're going to know what hot jobs are in the market.
Yeah.
They're going to know your skill set, and they're going to know what is best for you. Now it's completely your choice to choose whatever position you do, but at least have a couple offers out there. Don't always take the first one. Now a recruiter, based off of your skill set, they're going to be able to match you with what they feel is the best, and they're pretty damn good at it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I know you're a recruiter, so you, like you said, you're biased, but hopefully if anybody ever listens to this show, you kind of understand that there is definitely a reason that you guys exist.
Exactly.
And that you're almost, why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you use a recruiter? I mean, I know we've went over pitfalls and whatever before in other shows, but this is one of those great places.
Well, and not only that, here's the best part. As somebody looking for a job, it costs you nothing. It costs you your time.
Right.
Why not?
Exactly.
So, how do you, I know we talk about this quite a bit on the show, but how do you think your company is going to fare with this new Great Recession? I mean, do you think it's going to really impact you guys? Are you guys set up to already operate this way? Help me understand that a little bit more.
Well, right now, I don't see it affecting us that much as far as this Great Resignation. I mean, my guys, our whole culture is, protecting my employees and that they have a good work environment, that they like what they do, and all of that stuff was way before anything. I give a kudos to my team and stuff, but through the whole pandemic, we didn't really change much of anything.
That's
at
awesome.
all.
That's way cool.
We went to certain clients that we had to go to. We did a lot of remote stuff that we could already do.
Okay.
We really had very little change to the company. So that So I feel like this is kind of the same.
Yeah. So it's
As far as the Great Resignation, I don't think my guys are going to rush out and go try and find another good, better job. Although my guy, I go through guys a lot because I train them a lot, and it's kind of our thing.
It's par for the course.
Yeah, it's what we do, and I love my employees. They know that, and we have an amazing relationship. And it's a small company, we're just a small little folks.
Well, so let me ask you this. So if this does happen, and let's say one of your employees does decide to leave, do you think it'll be easier for you to find somebody because people are looking for jobs now, or do you think it's going to be a little bit tougher because people will be a little bit more choosy?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a great question, and I wish I guess I could think about it a little. The way that I hire, I usually don't, I hire up, so I usually don't hire the cream of the crop as far as tech skills, and we've talked about this before, college degrees and all that. I usually hire guys at the bottom, and then they teach and they work their way up. So that's kind of our model. That's how we do it. So I don't see, I don't see that really affecting us either. When you have people getting into the market, especially IT, these entry level, they're hungry, and a lot of people won't hire them. There's not a lot of jobs for those guys usually, or at least not desirable jobs. And I pay a little bit more, and there's a lot. If you talk to us and sit down, you realize, oh my gosh, there's a lot of benefits to working at Boteca.
Okay. Well, and that's kind of what I assumed. I mean, again, I think with any company, and what any company should do, it's tying into making sure that they're part of that culture, making sure that they're understanding that vision and the mission of where you guys want to go.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think for other companies, they should be thinking that way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're not, then in my opinion, you're going to be dead in the water.
I think the biggest piece was with this resignation thing. If you're a company out there, you first need to be thinking, okay, what do we need to do right now to keep the good people we have?
Absolutely.
What do we need to do? If you don't do that, you're going to be hurting. Any company loses 40% of their staff, it's going to suck.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you're a big company.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It is going to kill you.
Well, especially in IT. I mean, when you're already down and you know that you've been looking for people, it's only going to affect you more. Matter of fact, I actually just found a really good friend of mine who works for a digital agency actually sent me a message today, and they are still currently looking for 100 different people to expand. They have 101 open positions, and they can't fill it as of now.
101
open positions.
Jobs.
IT jobs.
IT specifically.
Marketing, technology, all of it. 101, and they're struggling now to fill those positions.
Yeah, I think this is the if you're a company and you're not thinking about this, if you're not going, hey, we got to keep our people, we got to make them. It's a different world now.
It really is,
and there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of choices.
And to be fair, I mean, this company, I mean, they're a great company to work for. They're constantly ranked in the top 5. They do great things and they do great work. They're just growing at such a rapid rate. They just can't keep up.
Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see the next 3 years, don't you think? The next 3 years, I know outward past that's going to be really crazy, but just in the next 2-3 years, don't you think there's going to be some changes?
I think in the next 18 months, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, I think with this 41%, I mean, we're already halfway through the year now. I mean, I feel that this is just going to carry over, and it's going to really hit hard next year. I think it's going to hit the end of Q3, start of Q4, and then just curtail into 2022.
Do you see an upswing right now for getting more people?
Absolutely.
Do you see it right now?
Absolutely. I mean, we're always busy, but I'm starting to see
see it even more,
picking up even more.
And probably you think it will double, triple?
I think it will most likely triple.
Wow. Guys, get ready for the ride. There's going to be some
Absolutely.
fun stuff coming around the corner. And I think probably in a way for us just normal IT folks, probably some positive stuff.
Oh, I
Don't
think
you
so. Well, and like I said, I mean, I know we kind of talked about this already, but I think the power has shifted from the companies to the employees now. So literally, I mean, we're not talking just salaries, but I mean, you could literally you could pick and choose between 3 or 4 or 5 different job offers. So you now have the power to be able to say, well, this one's better.
Yeah.
I was reading a post on LinkedIn the other day saying that somebody didn't like how many interviews that the company was making them go through, so they politely declined. And he was the top candidate for this position.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's like, dude, I'm done.
Yeah.
How many do you know how many there were?
If I remember correctly, it was like between 9 and 12.
What? Oh my heck. 9 or 12 interviews?
Yes.
I was thinking, okay, yeah, after 4, I would be annoyed.
Right.
I mean, come on. Do you know me or not? Now, if those are not, if it's a get to know you interviews, like we're going to lunch and we're connecting, because I do that all the time, but that's usually somebody I'm probably going to hire.
Yeah.
It's not, how the, 12?
Yeah. I don't remember all the specifics.
How?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. And if that company doesn't listen, they're not gonna get the best candidate for that job, right?
I would think not, but I mean, you never know. I mean, I don't know what their internal workings looks like. So maybe it is something that they do. I mean, I know there are companies out there who go through quite a very rigorous process.
And if it's desirable, if that company's really desirable, but again, the times are changing.
Times are changing.
And these
they are
desirable companies, if what makes them desirable is that they have the employee in mind.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think, don't you think
Yeah.
that the ones where we're going to you hear about, oh wow, the work environment's amazing that's becomes the amazing company, not the one that's doing the most or making the most revenue. It's not about that anymore, is it?
No, it's about what sort of impact are you creating as a company? What sort of imprint are you leaving on this world to say, I want to be a part of it and have your employees be a part of that? That's really what it's about at the end of the day.
This is good stuff. I think I'm curious if we're still doing the show in 18 months. Let's come back to this. I want to see
Absolutely.
where we're at. Don't you think?
I think we're going to be a lot further along than we both expect.
I
really
think
do.
you might be right. Cool. Well, this is awesome. Any last words, Brad? I think this. I think we kind of hit this. I like it, folks. This is some thought for you out there. Be thinking about this, guys. Change is coming. We'll see you next time for the new IT. 24 minutes.